Good afternoon. The Public Safety Committee will now come to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Alderman Oldenburg,
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Here.
Alderwoman Velasquez,
Present.
Alderwoman Sanye, Vice Chair Aldrich,
Present.
Chair Narayan,
Here.
Alderwoman Sanye. We have 5 present. We have quorum.
All right. Thank you for that. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of Thursday, September 25th, 2025.
So move.
Second.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Alderman Oldenburg,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Velasquez,
Aye.
Alderwoman Sanye, Vice Chair Aldrich,
Aye.
Chair Narayan,
Aye.
Alderwoman Sanye. We have 5 aye votes.
All right. With that, we've sustained the motion to approve the minutes of Thursday, September 25th, 2025, and we'll move to board bills for review. The only board bill that we're reviewing today is Board Bill 74, which is my board bill, so I'm going to turn the chair over to Vice Chair Aldridge while I present.
All right. Just to make sure, is everything recorded? Everything's good?
I'm checking with STL TV to make sure because I'm unable to view it in the media files on Civic Plus. So we're checking to make sure they have it connected.
Alderwoman Sanye, is she on that? She said she's on.
She's on the attendee side. She hasn't responded to move. There she is.
All right. I think we're all good to go. Nice smile from the alderman from the second.
Alderman from the 14th, you always make me laugh.
He's one of my faves.
We can continue. It is on YouTube. It's just not showing for us, so they can just send it to us later if you want.
Sure. Give them a minute and see if we can get it up and running.
It's live on YouTube on my end. Yeah. Yes, we can proceed. All right, Alderman, you are recognized on Board Bill 74.
Thank you, Vice Chair Aldridge. This is a really simple board bill, basically. If you recall, I was here several months ago with Board Bill 43, which related to FEMA assistance after the 2022 flooding in Ellendale. There was some houses that needed to be bought out because they're now in floodplain of the River to Pear. This is a companion bill to that authorizes the City Emergency Management Agency to accept just shy of $700,000 in relation to that incident, and I would appreciate your favorable consideration.
All right, we'll start with questions from the committee, starting with our most senior alderman on this committee, Alderman Oldenburg.
No further questions.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
No questions, thank you.
Alderwoman Sanye. Alderwoman Velasquez.
No questions.
Alderwoman Sanye.
No question.
All right. One just quick question. Has this, I see this has to be recommended by the Board of Estimate Approach, or E&A. Have this already been through E&A or?
I believe so, because this was something that was on the administration's radar. This is why Board Bill 43 went on the informal calendar prior to us going on summer recess. So I believe that they have taken this up in the meantime.
Okay. No questions. With that, Alderman, you may close on Board Bill 74.
I ask for your favorable consideration.
All right. I'll make a motion that we pass Board Bill 74 with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
Previous roll. Seeing no objections. Tanya vote? Did Tanya vote?
Objection? I guess because I was.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll. There was objection to previous roll.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Odenberg,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Velazquez,
Aye.
Alderwoman Sanye,
Aye.
Vice Chair Aldrich,
Aye.
Chair Narayan. We have 6 aye votes.
All right, with that, we've sustained the motion and passed Board Bill number 74 out of committee with a due pass recommendation. We have no resolutions. Do we have any written testimony on either 74 or on the Prop S discussion?
We have none.
Okay. Then at this point, we'll take up discussion item number 1, which is Proposition S funds. If there's someone from OVP who would like to come forward. And if you could just please state your name for the record.
Absolutely. My name is Brett Delaria, and I am the Public Information Officer for the Office of Violence Prevention. I didn't know, were you able to get the presentation? Was that sent over to you?
No, we have not received a
No
presentation
worries.
at all.
I've got some printed copies if the all see.
You will need to send those to the clerk so that they can be in the drive.
Absolutely, I'll make sure. So today we're here to talk about Prop S 2026. OVP has met along with the Department of Public Safety with a couple items for us to review today with you so that we can begin to open the process of request for proposals. So today what I hope to accomplish with you is to do a top-level overview of RFP for 2026, request the Public Safety Committee to help set the deadline and timeline for the RFP, request that the Public Safety Committee select an external reviewer, and then gain full approval to be able to open up the RFP once the timeline has been decided. So the RFP this year is relatively unchanged to the RFP in the past. There are a couple different areas that are required in the RFP that the reviewers utilize to rank and make their selections and decisions on. I do want to let you know that there is about $890,000 available for this cycle of Prop S. Additionally, in that cycle, awards can be awarded up to $1,000 per organization, as it is listed in the RFP currently. So the main areas there are is the record of successful delivery. What we're looking for that is we're trying to understand the organization's mission and history, understand the experience they have in providing the proposed programming they're offering, and the service of the community that they're reaching out to. Additionally, we ask them to describe any strengths that make them uniquely qualified to provide the proposed programming, including the capacity that they have, specific services they offer, as well as the specialty areas. As part of that section, in addition, we do ask for three references that would be collected for the external reviewers to contact if necessary. The second section of the RFP for submission would be evidence of applying an equity-centered lens to the work. And so we're seeking their experience with centering equity for BIPOC organizations and individuals, understanding the staffing plan, understanding who's the primary role and responsibility for managing, the qualifications of the staff as submitted by a resume and organizational chart as an attachment, the support to staff, including trainings to get them up to speed, as well as investment in their learning overall, and if applicable, describing not only the site that they plan to use, but any satellite sites. Section 3 of that includes description of the proposed programming, which we're trying to understand the goals, objectives, and activities for the level of impact that the programming is being proposed. They are required to select specialty areas, which can be found on page 3 of the proposed RFP. We also look to understand their underlying values and theories that inform the program design, how many participants the program seeks to serve, the target populations and neighborhoods, which we ask preference given to the 12 neighborhoods identified by both the Department of Public Safety and OVP as being high need and high risk and affected by violence. We ask them to describe the activities and services, understanding to reduce the likelihood of youth involvement in criminal activity, the partners that they work with, the support systems they provide, and how they plan to address community violence, and specifically exposing individuals to cognitive behavioral theory or case management. Additionally, we want to know how complementing existing services will help the program achieve its goals, and understanding if they partner with any additional organizations. Section 4 revolves around the data collection strategy. We want to understand the inputs, the outputs, and the outcomes, and how they plan to measure those to better understand the impact of the work that this proposed programming would have in reference to reducing crime amongst youth. We also want to understand the tools and processes used to collect, interpret, and report data. If individuals don't have a collection experience, we hope that they use that to identify individuals or services, how they're going to share their data to explain the importance of providing that. Finally, Section 5 has to do with budget and fiscal management, which we request the amount that is being requested to provide for the services, a timeline detailing the first 12 months, including a budget that is utilizing a template that is provided by the Office of Violence Prevention. Additionally, we understand the fiscal oversight and management and tools utilized to do that. That is the main pieces of the RFP. Those are complementary to what we have done in 5 as well. If we go to the next slide, the main difference this year and in terms of how we're collecting the RFPs this year. In past, they have been attached as PDFs or Word documents emailed to a general email inbox. We found in the past sometimes that has led to missing documents, pieces of the RFP, which can make a proposal deemed not available to be able to be considered for consideration. As such, we moved to an online form using JotForm software in which all the fields are required, so an individual organization will not have the opportunity to miss the documents that are required for submission. Additionally, this allows us to use conditional logic to proceed through hiding questions that are not necessary based upon responses or additional required responses for requirement for them. Additionally, it also allows us to integrate into third-party software such as Google Docs and Google Spreadsheets to make an easier submission to external reviewers to review documentation as well. Finally, as part of the communication stream, once the application is submitted, the software automatically we're able to customize the response to submit to the individual to let them know that the application has been received. In past, there have been miscommunications regarding the application submission and received part of that. This is all meant to hopefully streamline and as well create a central repository that also has a back-end area where we can store the original data in case there's any issues with the integrations going out. On the next slide, this is where the key part where the Public Safety Committees needs the most support for us. We need to set the RFP open date. We're asking your help for setting the timeline for deadline to submit questions. As part of the RFP, all questions must be submitted to the Office of Violence Prevention. We then will post those questions for the public on the RFP site on OVP's website. So we also need to know when those Q&As need to be posted by after they've been answered. And finally, the closure date of the RFP. In the past, we typically have allowed the RFP to be open for a month time, allowing individuals to be able to do that. I want to highlight that it's important that we set these dates. The goal is that we're trying to get on a calendar year timeline for the organizations. Last year, we did not open the RFP until February, which caused some encumbrance of the budget from the previous year to be able to fund the activities. So these dates will dictate the back end of the process, such as when external reviewers will be allowed to review the documentation, when the approval of the final selection is by the Public Safety Committee, the ability of OVP then to notify grantees and begin to draft and enter into contract, and finally, the need for E&A to review to begin the contract start date. So just keeping those in mind as well. The next part about this is seeking help understanding external reviewers. In the past, OVP has utilized both the Mental Health Board and Incarnate Word as external reviewers, providing them a rubric to understand and be able to rank the RFPs, providing that documentation back to OVP for us to synthesize their recommendations and provide that back to the PSC as needed. Those 5 areas that we talked about are weighted the following. Record of successful delivery would be rated at 20% of the total proposal. All these are also ranked on a 1 to 5 scale, showing the strength of the respondents' answers to the questions that were asked. The experience with equity-centered lens would be at 20%. Proposed programming would make up 40%, data collection 10%, and proposed budget and fiscal management would be 10%. So we're offering the ability for the PSC to allow us to utilize MHB or Incarnate Word, or if there's another external review like us to explore, we are able to do that. Those are the primary pieces that I bring to you today for help deciding. Again, our goal is to try to get this to a calendar year. We are hoping we can open it as soon as possible, which will keep us on task and allow enough time that hopefully before the end of January we'd be able to begin the contracts, having gone through the whole process of the approval with that. So I thank you for your consideration today. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I'll open it up to the committee for questions. Alderman Oldenburg, any questions?
None at this time. Thanks, Chairman.
All right. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Thank you for this presentation that outlined a lot of good information for us. I just guess I want to ask, to get it onto the calendar year date, do you have recommendations for those dates or?
So the good news is once the RFP is approved, it's relatively simple that we can get it posted on the website for public consumption, as well as to get the ads placed in the newspapers as required by the ordinance. My recommendation would be that we could hopefully open up this RFP sometime in the month of October, which would allow us to close it in November, hopefully allow us a week timeline for external reviewers to review, allow potentially a couple days for our OVP to synthesize that information, and then based upon your meeting calendar sometime in early November, be able to bring it before you for approval to allow us to begin the next stages. So I could say we could open, and hopefully I'm speaking correctly for everybody that I represent, but I believe we could open it up as early as Monday.
That's what I was going to say, because we're in October now, so. Okay, thank you.
Alderwoman Saunier. Alderwoman Saunier. All right. Alderwoman Velasquez.
I think my questions are similar to the Alder lady. You don't have the dates written down. We just need to have it a month out. The RFP needs to be open for a month.
So typically, correct, the RFP has been open for a month. If you'd like, I do have some draft copies of the RFP, if you'd like to look at it, that I provided some timeline before we actually were able to have this meeting. But it gives you an idea of the cadence that we recommend regarding how long the RFP should be open, how long into the timeline of the RFP being open should questions be submitted, when it should be posted, and when should it close. So in the draft document, because we weren't able to meet before today, we typically, like I said, keep the RFP open for a month. About halfway through the RFP being open, we typically have required the deadline for questions to be submitted, and a week after those questions be published to the webpage. And then the one thing that would dictate is when the RFP closes. When you approve, that would dictate what month it would go to E.
And then that's helpful. And then assuming is always a dangerous thing. But do you have a way to, obviously it goes public on the website, but do you have a way to just inform previous do you have a way to let people know that's easy beside them just refreshing the website?
So not only does it go public on the website, it will go public both on typically what we've done in the past to go public on OVP social media accounts, as well as a request to the city social media accounts to push out. We do have a list that we have collected on our website of individuals who are interested in funding. So we do an email blast to our partners who have requested that. Additionally, currently funded partners and older prospective individuals, we have the record of theirs, so we'll do an email blast to them. And we typically do a cadence of 2 or 3 email blasts throughout the process so that it's on everybody's radar as much as possible.
And you found that generally successful in the past?
Yes, I mean, I think last year we had over 40 applications total, so we felt it was successful in the outreach.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
All right, Vice Chair Aldridge.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Could you explain a little bit what is the deadline for organization to submit questions? So the RFP open, what does that mean if they?
So if they review the RFP and they have clarifying questions regarding, they can ask basically anything about the RFP. So it may be about a question about the budget. What percentage of the budget can go to staffing? So that question would come in. We want to give everybody the fair opportunity to understand what questions have been asked. So we compile all the questions in a document. In that document, our grants manager, Ms. Davis, responds to those, and then we publish it out to the public for consumption. So individuals who ask the question will be directed to review the final document that's published on the website, in addition to whatever questions we also compiled.
And from your timeline, I say we're a little behind, well, not really, 2 days. You guys want to open it on Monday, but say if you open it this up and coming Monday on the 6th, it looks like questions is usually open for about a week, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And it would open up Monday. You guys would want to close it somewhere around November 3rd? About a month, you said, to stay open?
Correct.
And then after it's closed, what's next?
We would need to move it to the external reviewers. And I would recommend potentially, depending on the volume of applications we get, that'll dictate the volume of reviewers that we request from the external reviewer, but we can set a reasonable timeline, whatever you may think would be good. If you'd like to provide them a week, 2 weeks, to be able to go through all the proposals and rank them.
So, and who would make the decision for the reviewers?
So that is what we're bringing to you today for the Public Safety Committee to confirm.
What would be your I mean, like you said, it depends on volume, but if the RFP closed on the 3rd, what would be, I guess, your recommendation for how long that review would need to be?
So I would recommend anywhere from a week to 2 weeks. Typically in the past when we've ranked them, it took us about a week to rank them.
Okay, so close on the 3rd. I guess a week would probably be that 10th, 2 weeks would be that 17th. What happens after the external reviewers review?
So once that is reviewed, it'll come back to our office so that we can review the rankings and see what, based upon the reviews that they've done and the ranking scores, what organizations that they're proposing as recommendations. So we'd compile that list and then bring it to you for review. But we want to allow enough time for us to submit the documentation as well as copies of the applications so that you have time to review that. I know that was a question that came into the process last time, was allowing enough time for the committee to review the documentation.
Okay, so the external reviewers would, have roughly maybe to the 17th of 2 weeks. Then you guys would review that information within that week, doing great work, sure that other things will pop up. In a perfect world, maybe that takes about a week for you guys to review it.
I think we can get through it with a week, because again, what we're really just doing is synthesizing data and information.
So we're looking at that week. Then we're in the week of Thanksgiving, the 24th week. That Thursday is a Thanksgiving. Usually when we would meet, and then if I'm not mistaken, the board goes on winter break on December 5th.
Okay.
Does that sound about right? Okay. So it's a really tight timeline, because one thing that I do think from the last times that we've done this that need to be also added to it is not only public safety getting the information, but being able to ask questions. The last time we did it, we just got the information and went off recommendations without hearing from vendors on some of the comments that you all put to have, kind of a robust conversation to figure out if just based off of what came back from OVP, is that the decision we want to make with granting that. I know we did that this last go round. Previously we didn't, so we'll see which way we do it this go round. But there would be, in my opinion, I think there needs to be time baked out so that the committee can actually digest that information and ask questions based off of granting or denying certain individuals, which would like I say, we go down on the break on the 5th, so it looked like this would be something that would actually maybe take place closer to January, which would be a little bit off of the schedule, to actually approve if the public safety were to approve it. So just throwing those dates out there. But again, one request that I would have from the Public Safety Committee, that we at least have not just time to get the documentation, but time to be able to know why they were denied and approved, and ask those organizations as well, or get input on those organizations. No questions.
All right, thank you, Vice Chair Aldridge. I just have a couple questions. So has the City Councilor's Office had a chance to review this?
Yes, so it's the exact same RFP. Basically, the only thing that changed was the submission and the dates. So it's gone through the city councilor for.
Awesome. And then, just so that I'm clear, what action items are needed from this committee before you can open the portal?
Yep, so today I'm asking you to set the timeline with us. As soon as we get the timeline set by the Public Safety Committee, we'll move forward with next steps. We need you to confirm which external reviewer, or if there's another reviewer you'd like us to consider to utilize for ranking them, and then the final approval of the RFP as it is, or with any amendments or changes to it, so that we can begin to post it.
Okay, thank you. And members of the committee, are you all, does anyone have any objection to coming up with these today, or does anyone feel like they need more time to mull these things over? I think these are pretty straightforward, so I'm comfortable moving forward today, just having a discussion on the timeline and the external reviewer, and then approving this so we can move forward diligently.
I have a question about the reviewer, if that's okay.
Sure.
I think one thing that came up last time was, is there a plan for, so how do I say this? Minding that we want to be sensitive of, you know, the public, of posting everything externally in all the applications. Is there a plan this time to maybe code or have some of the scores public, or, you know, I think there was I think that was a little bit of a, I think it might be better. I think there might be more understanding if people could see, obviously, what some of the scoring that, you know, I think there was an understanding of what we saw, but of course you don't want to have all those applications, you know, some of that has proprietary material that can't be public, but obviously having the scores a little bit and the methodology I know was public, but is there a plan to do that a little bit differently this year?
So to my knowledge, I don't believe we've discussed it, but if that's something the committee wants us to explore, you know, I believe there are ways that scores background can be anonymous, that we can provide those basic scores as well as the rubric publicly so individuals understand how these were scored. I would probably move to remove any commentary, but just have basic score rankings published. I don't think that would be a problem.
Sorry, I know I always have questions, but that's it. So
Okay.
yes, I'm fine with moving forward today.
Do we want to use the mental health board again as the external scorer? Does anyone have any issues there? Feel like they've done it once, and we can kind of stick with what we know and grow on that rather than reinventing the wheel is kind of my thought there, but I'm certainly open to discussion.
And of course, I just want to make a note real quick. We do have individuals sign a release that if there are any conflicts of interest, they make us aware beforehand, specifically if they've worked with specific organizations that we're aware when we divvy up the proposals for review, that we're aware of any conflicts of interest that may exist.
Great. And Alderman Oldenburg, you were going to say something, I think?
I was just going to agree with you, not reinventing the wheel, Chairman.
Okay, perfect. Does anyone have any issue with using the mental health board as the scorer? All right, well, since I'm not hearing any objections there, I move that we use the mental health board as the independent scorer for Prop S Fund for for 2026.
Second.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Alderman Odenberg,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, Alderwoman Velazquez,
Aye.
Alderwoman Sanye, Vice Chair Aldrich.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Alderwoman Sanye. Thank you, Alderman Aldrich. Chair Narayan.
Aye.
We have 6 aye votes.
All right, so we've confirmed the external reviewer. So now we need to set the timeline. I think that the sooner we move, the better. You indicated that we could open it as soon as Monday morning.
Yes, so once it's approved, the logistics, I do all the posting and that on the back end. That allows me enough time to get things set up on the website, get the ad placements confirmed, and then be able to conduct the email communications as well as social media plan.
All right, and look at the date here on what Monday morning it's going to be.
The 5th.
It's going to be the 6th.
Oh, 6, sorry.
So I move that we set the timeline to open the RFP the Monday, the 6th of October, 2025. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Previous row.
There's been a request for previous roll. Hearing no objection to previous roll, we've set the timeline. And so now we just need the final approval. This has gone through the city councilor's office, so we just need to make the edits there with the external reviewer and the timeline. So I move that we finally approve the RFP pending the updates for the timeline and external review. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Sure, absolutely.
Only thing that I'm gonna say, and I do think we are getting better with this process. When we have stuff like this that we have to take a vote on, I think it's important that we get these type of documents not minutes before the meeting. The presentation is posted online so that other individuals who need to know about this information can be able to, have it. But especially as a committee, if we go, I know this is probably the same RFP that has happened in the past, so it's probably not much change. But for our other boards, when they do RFPs, I'm sure they get the documents at least 24 hours in advance. And I would just ask, as we move forward, that this committee get that same due process and respect.
And I will check with the individual who was supposed to send it over to see where the miscommunication might have, but we'll ensure moving forward that you get this in a timely manner.
All right, and so, I will note that that he indicated that this is the same RFP from last year, and the only thing that we're changing is the dates, essentially, and this has been vetted by the city councilor's office, so I'm comfortable moving forward with this today, especially since I don't want to set this back another week on something that that has been vetted.
I think Alderwoman Sonia has her hand up.
Alderwoman?
Thank you, Chairman. I definitely think we need to, move forward because of the timeline, but I do want to say, especially with this process, like I do have residents, especially as Roosevelt High School, as the committee is familiar with, that are kind of following it really closely and really kind of anxious about, funding. I think especially given all the other funding cuts that can happen. So for me, it's definitely really helpful when I can share the documents with them. I think right now one of them is asking me, and I do see the email. I haven't responded yet, and I'm sure they're watching right now. So at least that person will know I see it, about the documents that you all have in front of you and why they can't see it. So I just want to uplift, like, I know we're on a tight timeline. I think we should still continue with setting the timeline, and I will happily explain that to the resident reaching out, but just definitely want to uplift too, just the importance of making sure that this process, everything that we have, the public gets at the same time as us, because that makes it much more easier for me to make sure I'm doing my due diligence to bring my constituents along with me.
Thank you for that. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none, there's been a Motion and a second. Madam Clerk.
I'm sorry, could we repeat the motion in the second? It was for finally approving the RFP?
Yeah, it's
For-
to finally approve the RFP pending the edits on the timeline and the external review.
So what is the edits on the timeline?
The edits on the timeline, like, you can see it says like RFP opening date, September 29th. So we would move that since we've set the timeline now. So that would be edited to say October 6th. And so that closing date would be November 5th, I guess. And so just to update the dates throughout so that we're not just approving this document as is.
So should we probably actually get the dates? So we opening it, so if we're about to approve this RFP, should we also get the actual dates for the deadline for the organization, the question and answer, so that we are actually voting on dates? Or are we just going to approve the RFP and say it's up to the organization to fill in the dates before we leave?
I believe, and I'm happy to be mistaken here, but I believe once they have that opening date, that the rest of the kind of fall in line.
We can follow that cadence that we talked about with the RFP closing in a month. Based upon the old proposed dates in this document, we can look to see what that week out would be questions when the posting comes from that. But if the committee wants to set those dates now, I'm fine with that as well, whatever. I defer to your preference.
Do you have a strong feeling here, Vice Chair?
I don't. I mean, I don't think any of us sit on the RFP process. I just want to make sure we're doing it right to make sure that those dates are actually set if we're going to vote out the RFP. Like, I don't.
Sure, yeah, and that's why I made the motion pending the edits for those dates, so that that timeline can be edited.
Can you edit those dates in the RFP? Should we have those dates locked down before because if we vote this out and you take it live and we're voting on an RFP, we should probably, I'm assuming, have those dates.
Okay, so let's look.
And I'm just asking for like legal reasons or.
So,
I think we've done this before in this committee. Can we just literally go through and just do it right now and then vote to, if we do Monday, you said Monday, October 5th? No, Monday, October 6th is the Monday. That's when this would open.
so just every other date gets pushed back by.
Yeah, and then let's put every other date and then we'll vote on it. But pick the dates right now.
I would recommend that.
All right, so we'll do the request for proposals open. We'll make that 10/6.
Okay.
Then we'll push back to deadline for organizations to submit questions to 10/7.
No, 10 does not, yeah. If it opens on the 6th, the questions can be
Oh,
closed
excuse me.
the day after. 10/17, you mean?
Excuse me, yes, 10/17. And then we'll push back the 17th to the, what would that be, the 23rd? 24th, excuse me. Yeah, so Friday the 24th. Then we'll do November 6th. We don't know the date of approval by ENA, so we can't give a specific award date. And then that estimated contract start date, where would you suggest that we put that estimated contract start date?
I think with the tight timeline, with the holidays coming up, I would recommend we leave first with the understanding that we can start before.
There's also an issue in this. You do not have the Board of Aldermen approving this before ENA. We have to approve these awardees. That's how the process works. And then it approves at the board, then it goes to ENA. That's a resolution that you carry. We voted out of this committee. It's a resolution. Then that goes to ENA, which puts it even more in a tighter timeline than. But there is something missing in this step.
Correct. I don't think it's been in there before, but we absolutely can.
I'm sorry, sir. Could you speak into the mic a little more?
Yes. So I apologize. I don't think, since this was just pulled off of last year, I don't think that's ever been set in here. But if we know when the committee is going to meet, I absolutely think we can put that in there.
Well, he's saying that, so I understand this is estimated subject to change. What I think my colleague is saying is that you don't have the full process in here, because the full process, it can't be approved by ENA until it is approved by the board. So my colleague is just saying there's why this is an estimated schedule. It's not the full and complete schedule because it is required to be passed by the full board. Correct.
Yeah, per ordinance, it has to go through the board before ENA, or anything
Requiring
maybe by
that has a fiscal component.
And it's probably not an ordinance. I just know we have to pass it before ENA,
So
so.
then let's tentatively set, you said you need about a week, with after the proposals are submitted. So then let's say November 13th, Public Safety will meet to discuss, and then we'll get it to ENA from there.
The problem last time is we discussed without having, remember we tried to, I'm not saying no, I'm not the Public Safety Committee. I would just say, I think we would need to have 2 meetings to get it back, to ask questions and answers before just making a decision the same day.
Okay, so let's look at the calendar here and try and figure out when Thanksgiving is.
The 27th. So, I mean, we could have a meeting on the 13th. That gives a week for everybody to digest and come back on the 20th.
Okay,
Vote it
so
out.
yeah, we'll plan on meeting the 13th and the 20th then. And that way people should have enough time to digest things, should they see fit. And then that gets it, hopefully, the December ENA meeting then, which, yeah, that should more or less keep us on track there. All right, so then I move that we open request for proposals 10-6, the deadline for organizations to submit questions, 10-17, questions and answers posted, 10-24, request for proposals submitted November 6th, November 13th and 20th, Public Safety will meet to discuss. We don't have a exact date for approval by ENA, so as a result, we don't have an exact date on notification of awards, and we estimate the contracts will start February 1, 2026. Is there a second?
Second.
All right.
So it was moved by,
Moved by me and seconded by Aldridge.
Previous row.
There's been a request for previous roll. Hearing no objection to previous roll, we've passed the aforementioned motion. And I believe that is the last of our action items here today.
That's for me. Yep. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Let's go back to here. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment for this?
we have none.
All right. Do any members have any announcements?
Can I make a quick announcement, Mr. Chairman?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Just in public safety, as we get ready to do one of the things that we do to increase awareness and safety, density, feet, people on the ground, faces in the place, and the National Night Out here is coming up on Tuesday. So please make sure that if your events aren't registered with the city, you can still register them through your neighborhood improvement specialist. This is a great way to connect with us as well. Many of us use that as a guide to see which ones to stop by on Tuesday night. But prior to that, you have an opportunity in the 10th Ward at the Urban League to have a National Night Out one-stop shop. A lot of National Night Out events are going to stop by this one to get different kind of resources, connect, and there's going to be engagement, education, empowerment, and elevation. And this is at the Urban League on this Saturday, October the 4th. At 11 a.m. That's 1408 North Kings Highway. This is the Federation of Block Units in the Urban League, and they will be getting people information, different people connecting to prepare for your National Night Out event. And there will be city departments there, city, not just our police and fire departments, but also our refuse department. Forestry department will be there, so you can get information from them as well to share with your neighbors on National Night Out. So enjoy National Night Out, but also stop by the National Night Out one-stop shop for the Federation of Block Units at the Urban League this Saturday, October the 4th at 11 a.m. at 1408 North Kings Highway. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further announcements? All right. All members were present today. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Previous roll.
You owe me a Pepsi.
Hearing no objection to previous roll, we stand adjourned.